All right, what's up guys? So if you just got your first bike and you're wanting to get as good as you possibly can, as fast as you can, because you're tired of not being able to do anything, I'm gonna show you the 5 most important tricks in BMX that will lead to pretty much almost every other trick in the book. Let's get started. All right, so the most important trick in BMX by far is gonna be the bunny hop. You use in every single discipline in riding, whether that be street, park, dirt jumps, flatland, whatever. You use it in pretty much everything. So by far, I'd say the bunny hop is the most important trick. So to do the bunny hop, a few things that'll make it easier are having a light bike, but you can learn it on a heavy bike. So if you have a 35-pound bike, you can still learn it. And then once you upgrade to a lighter bike, it's gonna be a lot easier in the future. So I'm gonna break down the bunny hop into the 3 simple steps that kind of help me learn it, just to keep it as simple as I can for you guys. So the first step is gonna be the drop, then the pop, and then the pull and scoop. So sounds kind of funny, but let me show you quick examples of a few of them. So the first one right here that I'm showing you is gonna be the drop. So you can see that I drop my butt down kind of a little over my back tire and over my seat. This is gonna help you get into the right position to pop off that back wheel and then suck it up. So once you get into this first position, then you wanna extend your arms all the way and pull back on the bars while also pushing your butt and your legs back. So this is gonna help you extend and get pop off of that back wheel. And then finally, the last step is finish up that pop, extending your legs straight down, pulling your bars up to your chest, and then scooping your feet to pull the pedals and the back of the bike up under you. So what I mean when I say scoop your feet is you're gonna wanna curve your feet around your pedals, kind of, so having a little looser shoes that have a little bend in them will really help you on this. You just need to pull your foot to where it lifts this up. So you're gonna be pulling with the front of your foot to bring your bike straight up. A few common issues you might have are you're not extending your arms and you're trying to pull up like this, just with your arms bent, and you're never gonna do that because you're not getting your weight back over your back tire to hop off of. If your weight's over your front and you try to pull up, you're just gonna go like this every time. You need your weight straight over your back tire. That way when you pop, you can pull it straight up. So now that you've got the bunny hop down, we're gonna move to the second most important trick in BMX, and that's gonna be the manual. While everybody doesn't use this trick, it's gonna help you in pumping and jumping and make you bunny hop higher. So the manual is super similar to the bunny hop because you're just gonna use the first 2 steps of how to do a bunny hop to do a manual. So all you're gonna have to do is drop your body and then move your butt back. Instead of about right here for a bunny hop, you want it to be almost center over your rear axle. So right here, you want this to be almost directly above, and that's gonna be about where everybody's balance point is. It's gonna vary from person to person, but that's what I find most common. What I'd recommend to learn these is just practice that. So just stand on your bike and then push your butt back. So mine could even be a little bit more over the back tire, and you have to use your legs to absorb any mistakes you make. So I don't have brakes on my bike, so I can't hit the brakes to bring me back down. So if I start going off the back, I have to suck my legs in to bring my front back down. And same thing the other way. So if my front tire starts dropping, you want to extend your legs to put your center of gravity a little further back. So what I just showed you right there is called a loop out. Because obviously you're not gonna have perfect manuals every single time. And that's what happens if you lean too far off the back. You're gonna shoot your bike out in front of you. So it's really good to learn that early on. Do a few of those on purpose. Just lean back and then you just give your feet a little bit of pressure and your bike should pop out straight out from under you, and then you just run out the rest of the manual. I wouldn't recommend ditching your bike with your hands, because then it could fall in front of you and then you could just run over your bike and get all tangled up. So a few important things to notice on the manual are gonna be having your arms completely straight. There's only a few times in manuals where you really have to try to save it, where you bend them just a little bit to bring it up, but 99% of the time your arms are gonna be almost completely straight out. So if you're having any issues with your manuals, really look to see where your center of balance is, so where your butt is over your back tire, and then see if your arms are trying to pull up on the bars. You want those completely out and your legs to do all the work. So the third one, I'm gonna combine 2 tricks. And this one you probably already saw coming with the first 2 tricks. It's gonna be a 180 and how to fakie out. So this is important because this is gonna lead for the 180 to any sort of spins later on, 360s, 540s, 720s, whatever you wanna do, it always starts with the 180. And then the fakie is gonna lead to so many other tricks, like any 1.5 spinning tricks or just half spinning tricks, so 180 or 540, or even just like a hop to fakie, anything like that, it's gonna involve the fakie. So the fakie is super important to learn early on and really will help you elevate your riding very quickly. So for the 180, I have a full in-depth how-to on this. I'll also link that down in the description. So if you want the entire, I think it's like a 7 or 8 minute video explaining all the ins and outs of it, I'll put that down in the description, but I'll just give you a really quick one right now. So the 180 is gonna combine a turn and the bunny hop that I just showed you a second ago. So you're gonna have to do all 3 of those steps while also giving the bike a little bit of a turn, and then you wanna yank your head around to where you're gonna land. So I'm gonna slow down this example for you and kind of talk you through it. So watch how I drop my body right at first and then start turning. And then right when I start the second step of the bunny hop, when I push my body back, I'm starting to look over my shoulder that I want to turn to. If you're having any issues with this trick, 99% of the time what it is with people is they aren't committing to it and they aren't looking over their shoulder. They're doing a little hop and they'll kind of, it'll look pretty much like this. They'll kind of turn their head and then they'll pull it right back. Just because they're going backwards is really scary on a bike at first. I know it was for me, but it's just something you'll have to get used to. So once you can do this, but then you can't fakie out, that's when the next part comes in. So my recommendation for learning how to do a fakie, I'll put a few clips in right here. It's the easiest way to do it, and the way that I learned to do it is I just went up to a curb and you kind of push your front tire against that curb, lift up your back tire a little bit, and then push off that curb and use that as a little bit of backwards momentum to get used to like the timing if you're on a cassette, to how to put your weight and turn out, or if you're on a free coaster, same thing. I also have a full video on how to do a fakie on a free coaster that I'll put down in the description. So the fakie is going to be really frustrating at first. It'll take you a little while to get used to and to link in with the 180. But I'd recommend doing that push back off of the curb as many times as you can every day to just get used to it, get used to the feeling of where your weight has to be to turn out. So one little thing I will say is whenever you're doing the fakie, you want to make sure that your weight is it's pretty much back where you were doing the bunny hop again. So it's that second step of how to do a bunny hop. Whenever you're doing a fakie, you should be about here. And what that's gonna do is keep your weight over the back tire, because if you're all the way like this, you're not gonna be able to pedal backwards, and you're not gonna be able to have your weight over the back tire to lift your front tire up to turn out. So that's really important, is that you have your weight over your back tire so you enable yourself to be able to pick this front tire up and turn it out. You need to turn the opposite way of the way you want to turn out. So if I want to turn out that way, I turn my bars to the right, because if you're going backwards, that's going to pull you this way. And then whenever you find that balance point or that certain spot in the fakie, you put pressure on your pedals, or if you're on a free coaster, you just kind of turn out of it. And then if you're on a cassette though, you can put pressure on that pedal and pick up your front tire and turn yourself around. So these next two are very, very generic, but if you can get comfortable with doing this, it will make every other trick in the future easier to learn. So I'm just gonna tell you straight up what they are. So 4 is gonna be how to take your hands off, and 5 is gonna be how to take your feet off. And the reason this is most important is because every other trick outside of spins and like other little like tweaks and tables and stuff like that, you're gonna have to take your body parts off the bike, which is super scary at first. Especially bar spins. If I would have been way more comfortable taking off my hands at first, bar spins would have been way easier, because it's a real mental game trying to learn tricks where you have to take like your hands off your bike and you've never done that before. So what I'd recommend is once you get comfortable with the bunny hop and the 180 and stuff like that, start trying to take one hand off the bike and then another hand off the bike. And then eventually start trying to do like a toboggan or something like that. And the way I did that is you just want to start getting used to just moving your hand. Because what it is muscle memory of finding that grip again. Because if you've never let go of your bike and you take your hand off, you might put it here, you might put it here, you don't know. But if you've done this 1,000 times, stuff like this, and you go to learn a new trick, you're already gonna have that muscle memory of where to put your hand. So this will help with numerous tricks like bar spins, toboggans, suicides, whatever. Any trick where you take your hands off, this is gonna help you if you can learn it early on, and will give you a big step up over a lot of your friends riding if they haven't learned this early on. So the way you can do this is either out of a bowl, a dirt jump, or just bunny hop. You just wanna jump up, take one hand off, and then try it with the other side. So I'll show you a few quick examples. And you wanna make sure you do this at the peak of your jump. If you do it right in the middle, you're gonna kind of lose your balance. So you wanna jump, take your hand off, put it back on. And it's not gonna be perfect every time. As you saw on that one, I landed a little bit off my grip. And that's part of the other thing, is you'll get used to landing not completely perfect, which will make it a lot less scary in the future. So that wraps up number 4, guys. Just get loose, start taking those hands off. And then number 5 is gonna be taking your feet off. I'd say this one's a little less important, just because I feel like there's a lot more tricks that involve taking your hands off than your feet off. I personally do about 50-50, so I'd say it's more important for me to do my feet off. I really love tailwhips, so this was a big one for me, and I feel like they're a really low risk trick. I don't know, it's a lot less scary for me to take my feet off than my hands off, but maybe that's everybody, I don't know. So to take your feet off, it's gonna be almost the exact same thing. This is gonna lead to numerous other tricks: tailwhips, no footers, no footed can-cans, Supermans, whatever you want. But the way to do that is gonna be the same way. You're gonna wanna bunny hop and just take your feet off. So your bike might land and bounce a little bit like that one just did. These are gonna be a little bit easier to learn out of some sort of transition where you can kind of pump out of it, because in a bunny hop, you don't have as much time to suck it up and then take your feet off and then put it back on before you land. So even if that's what it looks like when you're first learning, you just kind of hop up and your bike lands and then you land on it, that's gonna be okay. Like I said, all of this is just to get you comfortable. BMX is a huge mind game, and that's why all of these tricks are so important to learn early on. If you can learn all these early on and get more comfortable with your bike, it's gonna make learning tricks in the future so much easier and so much less scary than everybody else that you're riding with. They don't have these skills early on. So these are the 5 most important tricks I think you should learn early on to really help you progress your riding faster, and it'll be a lot more fun because it'll be a little less scary, and you won't have to sit there for an hour trying to think about how to do it, and you'll just say, screw it, and go try it. All right, thanks for watching, guys. If y'all like this video and appreciated the top 5 most important BMX tricks, give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I've got a lot of cool projects coming up, and the more views and likes that these videos get, the more I'm able to do to give out good content for y'all. So like I said, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Go watch a few of those other videos I talked about earlier, or just go have fun and ride your bike. All right, thanks, guys. Ow, that hurt my shoulder.